Hello and welcome back to the channel, and something a little bit different for you this week. I was inspired to make this video because I saw that the A283 was one of the top 10 most scenic roads to drive in Great Britain, and the A283 is a road that I've actually coveted myself. Actually, it's one of my favourite roads when I do get the opportunity to use it, and have been using this road recently where we've done some road trips over to Stonehenge and Wiltshire, and you can see those videos up on the channel. So the A283 runs, or the section that we'll be driving on it, is the bit that goes from Pulborough over to Midhurst. But I actually think this section of the road, the A272, is equally as interesting. So we've started our trip in the Shoreham area, just outside of the roundabout or flyover at Shoreham, and we're just approaching the Shoreham Cement Works. The Shoreham Cement Works was built in the 1950s. Behind it there's a large chalk pit, and in this section here on the right hand side there was a large gantry that used to cover the whole of the road, and it's quite a icon. You'd always remember that as you were driving down this road. On the right hand side now we have got the workers' cottages. All of these houses, Dacre Gardens, were where the workers that worked in the cement works would have lived. The first one on the house nearest the cement works was the foreman, and he had the grandest of all of these houses. They've got fantastic views looking west over the Arun River and Arun Valley. Probably see that over to your left. Very popular, this area, with cyclists and walkers. Just as we come up to this roundabout here, there's a little car park on the right hand side. This can give you access to the South Downs. There's a trail that takes you right the way up onto the South Downs. That roundabout would have taken you to the Upper Beeding area. Upper Beeding's got some fantastic looking old Sussex village buildings, and also there's a school there called the Towers. Yeah, very fine architecture if you ever get to visit the area. Just crossing the River Arun here, and you can see the Steyning Bowl area of the South Downs to my left hand side. Filming this in end of July, August, so yeah, everything is grown and as green as it can get this year. One of the reasons that I chose this time of year to take you on this drive. Just approaching Bramber Castle and the roundabout at Bramber Castle here. Bramber Castle was built in 1073, one of the first castles built after the Norman invasion, and it's no longer an active castle. It has been left to ruin, and it's quite a lovely place though for you to visit. It's National Trust owned, so you can go in there. It's free to walk around and open at all times of the day. Over to my left we have got Steyning, which is a little village nestled at the base of the South Downs. All of these villages locally have done very well through the trade that the River Arun have given all of these villages. Goods coming in from the continent and globally, and coming up the River Arun, and they've been able to trade things in and out. We're currently on what is the old railway track, and just here is where the station for Steyning would have been located. This all got converted into this bypass back in the 1970s and 80s. It's not as charming as driving through Steyning itself, but it has some of its charms in that it's a very long, sweeping, fast road, and you can kind of see why as a railway line this would have been perfect, because there's no sharp bends or anything like that. Not sure where the line goes off, but at some point around here it would have headed north and headed up through the Partridge Green and Henfield area. Just coming up to a junction which would take you left down into Steyning village again, and right would take you up to Partridge Green. The trees and the shrubs are wonderful at this time of the year. The trees form these tree tunnels all the way along this road, and I think that adds to the magic of this road. I guess if you commute on it every day, probably not going to see the benefit, but I did commute on this road regularly for about 10 years, and it was always a pleasure to drive on it. As we climb up this little section, we've got farmland all the way around us, and we're just coming up upon the Wiston estate. Over to the left hand side there was a large mill pond. Just getting sightings up on the top there as well of Chanctonbury Ring. Might get some more angles of Chanctonbury Ring as we go along this road, because this section here just loops along the bottom of the downs. So you used to be able to see the lake just in this area looking to your left, but as time has gone on, a lot of the shrubs and trees have overgrown that area, but it always felt like a magical place, that lake, almost like one of the sort of lakes from the King Arthurian tales. As we drop down, we've got a S-bend at the bottom of this road, and we might be able to get some glimpses of Wiston House. Wiston House is owned by the Goring family, and I'll put up in the description below to link to information about Wiston House. The Goring family, the people that have planted the trees up on Chanctonbury Ring in the 1600s. I think it was Charles Goring that planted them up there, and we're going to go past the entrance of Wiston House shortly along this section. I've been into Wiston House, and it's an absolutely fine place to visit. It's often used for meetings these days, and once a year they have a oh, there it is, there's the entrance there to the left. Once a year they hold a Christian celebration here. We're actually now driving on a Roman road, so this was the east to west Roman road. I've done a film on this, or video on this section of the road, and might get some glimpses over on the right hand side of Bunkton Chapel. Again, done some videos, a very fine old English church. I think a lot of the Goring family are buried in that location. To my left now is the little lane that takes you up to the car park at the base of Chanctonbury Ring, so if you ever want to visit there, that's the road that you need to go on. That road itself is a very, very interesting and charming road to drive down, although a little bit challenging because it's quite narrow and windy. You might see again glimpses of Chanctonbury Ring over to the left as we weave around here. Steep climb that we've got, and some very curvy roads ahead. That makes it very, in my opinion, very interesting and challenging to drive. Like the S-bends back there, these curves up ahead, some of my favourite parts. They're quite fast curves, but not too challenging as well. So on my right hand side used to be a large sand pit, and that sand pit has all been filled with household rubbish, landfilled, and yeah, completely converted back to countryside. So the big hole that was created through the industry of removing sand has yeah, actually been converted back into normal land. And now to the right hand side we've got an empty sand pit. Again, I think the local government want to turn that back into a landfill, but the local residents aren't keen on that idea. Don't blame them, to be honest, but it's a shame with this large sand pit that it doesn't get used for anything, to be honest. I've did a video on it a little way back, and somebody had said that it had been turned into a park, but when I investigated, it was just off limits, and yeah, couldn't get into it. So coming up here we've got Washington Roundabout. Washington Roundabout actually has a World War II plane crash right in the middle of the roundabout. I believe it was a Messerschmitt that was shot down, landed right in the middle of that big island, and one of the local residents over in Ashington has actually still got the V12 engine in his possession in his garden, no less. Over to my right hand side is another place that I've filmed a video, and that is the sanctuary. And this was an area that had been bought up by a textile magnate's daughter, and she turned it into like a refuge, and basically people could buy large sections of this or no, sorry, they didn't buy, she was giving away large sections of this land for people to live on, and became a sort of naturist area. Some of the sort of occultists from the Steyning, the Victor Nurburg and Aleister Crowley crowd came over to the sanctuary, and has now turned into a very prestigious housing development called Sleepy Hollow. So slightly sort of creepy overtones to that area. Over on the right hand side we've got some more of the sand pits. So the downland over on the left is all chalk, and then you've got this green sand section right below the South Downs, and this has been actively mined for hundreds of years, still being mined to this day. Just as we sort of come round these bends, there's a junction or crossroads essentially, and if you turn down there, that is where they're actively mining the sand from there. And some of the old sand pits, just as we come into Storrington now, they have been converted into housing developments, so making good use of the old industrial process. So yeah, we're coming upon Storrington, which is another Sussex town, this one, rather than village. This Sussex town, Storrington, has a watermill in it, and that watermill was used for creating grains, and it was famous for the Storrington kibble loaf. It's quite a wealthy, or has been quite a wealthy little area for quite some time, and got some lovely old buildings and sort of newer buildings as well. But yeah, it's a bit of a rat run in some ways, this section of the road. A lot of people have to come through this way to take some of the other roads off. So Storrington town itself can get very, very busy, and being that it's an old town, the streets are fairly narrow, so they can get quite congested if you do decide to make your way on this route yourself. if you are coming down this route, obviously this would be a good place to have a stop off. Over to the right there is some shops, and behind all of those shops there is a more modern style shopping centre. Lots of cafes, like most places these days, lots of cafes in Storrington, so if you want to make this one of your stop offs on your journey through, you could do. The road on my left takes you up onto the South Downs. Did a video where I actually walked from over to the right hand side of this road all the way back from Storrington all the way to Worthing, and took that road off to the left to make my climb up onto the South Downs. As we approach this little mini roundabout here, the road to the left would take you off to Amberley and to Rackham. We've done quite a few videos up on the South Downs in that area. That road in itself is a really enjoyable drive. You could say a lot about the roads in Sussex. Got some great roads. Got cricket still being played over on the green there in Storrington. Very active cricket club there if you're into your cricket. So starting to thin out now, but we've still got lots to see on this road trip. We've got some more country houses to go through and some more towns to go through. So this section is a lot slower. We're still in the 30 limit here. We're going to drop down, and there's an old pub on your right hand side, and yeah, just getting glimpses of the downs off to the left. So this section, there is behind all of these houses in the fields, we'll probably see the entrance as we go past it, but there's a gliding club. This is the old pub that I was talking about. Looks like it should be like a coach and horses type thing, doesn't it? Yeah, over to the right hand side now, we've got an airfield that's used for gliders. That's the entrance to it there, and we're just coming up for a sharp right hand turn, and looking straight on is the entrance to Parham House. And yet to do a video in the Parham House area. I believe there are some footpaths that go through Parham. We have looked at it from the South Downs from Rackham, and looks like a very interesting estate. It's on my to-do list. I just haven't got round to it yet. Around this section of the road, we've got some wonderful tree tunnel lined roads to go through, but interestingly, down here on the right hand side was actually a oil field. There it is, and yeah, driving down that road, you used to see the pumps that would be pumping oil out of the ground. I don't think they're actively pumping anymore, but it's unusual for Sussex to have an oil field and an oil pump. All of this area to the left hand side is all part of the Parham estate. You can probably see behind all of the shrubs on the left hand side there is like a boundary wall, all made of flint, marking the property borderline. This again, this section of the road got all of these large section of trees, and we're going to come up upon Pulborough Brooks. We're heading to Pulborough now, and at the top of this hill on the left hand side is Pulborough Brooks. It is an area there you can go and look at some of the wildfowl. There's also a wildfowl down in Arundel. This one, they're all on the River Arun, but this one obviously you can go and do some bird watching. So if you're into bird watching, this might interest you. quite a fast section of road here, and yeah, I'm not going to be driving fast on this whole journey through. As you can see, we've got 40-mile-an-hour limits, but over to there's the Birdfell area or sanctuary. On the right hand side, we've got the West Chiltington is on the other side of all of those trees, which is a very wealthy part of Sussex. Lots of supercars in that area. I lived a large part of my life in West Chiltington, and it was not uncommon to see Ferraris racing Lamborghinis, racing Panteras, and yeah, right here, this very straight section of the road would be where people would let rip and yeah, unleash their cars, but you do run out of road very quickly here, because at the end of this road we're going to get into the Pulborough area. Yeah, there we go, somebody yeah, making use of the very straight section of road there. Yeah, do tend to drive fast, a lot faster than me. I'll be sticking to the speed limits throughout this journey. So yeah, just going to cross a tributary of the River Arun. It gets extremely tight here, so you don't want to be meeting a bus or a lorry as we cross this teeny little this little bridge here, just enough for 2 cars there. So we're going to make a left turn here, and the turning on the left is the road that takes you down to Nutbourne and West Chiltington. So Pulborough, again, one of the Sussex towns we're coming upon, has a lot of sort of oldish buildings, but this town has got a railway link in it. So you tend to find that Pulborough is a little bit more towny than some of the other villages that we've got, because of that rail link to London. It's often been used by people to get away from London, either as holiday homes or commuting. It is definitely a commuting centre, so people will either live or live in this area like West Chiltington and Pulborough. They'll drive to the Pulborough station and grab the train to get into London. So the majority of the area around these villages though is all historic farmland, so as much as you've got some of these much more expensive and modern houses, you'll often see much poorer ones as well, like the ones on the left hand side, traditional cottages that the sort of local farming labourers would be using. Lovely little cottage there on the right hand side. Very busy road though, again running through Pulborough. Like I said, because of the railway that's been an asset to the town and key to its development. So as we run through Pulborough, just let you know before we get to it, but we are actually going to be crossing Steyning Street. So Steyning Street is the old Roman road that went from Chichester all the way to London, and we've covered parts of Steyning Street at Bignor, and I do actually sort of want to do some more investigations along Steyning Street, because as we went south from our current location here towards Bignor, we found that there was an old staging fort down there. I found that quite interesting to visit. You can still see the outlines of where the fort used to be, and some of these forts were also going in the northerly direction, but I believe a lot of the houses have been completely obscured the land, so you're not going to be able to see any of the old forts. So this is the section where we're now crossing Steyning Street, and the Romans would have had to cross the River Arun, which is just off to my left now. And I've got some just coming up upon the station now, some wonderful houses over here on the right hand side. Like I said, as you get closer to the railway station, much grander houses on the right hand side, where people would have had these fine houses funded by the railway. So this is Pulborough railway station off to the right hand side, and then we're going to go under the bridge where the railway crosses it. Another very narrow bridge, that one. You do have to breathe in if another car's coming the other way. So this area here is very popular for walking. You see sort of some cars dotted there. Over to the left you've got the River Arun, so you can do some walks along the banks of the River Arun. And over on the right hand side we've got some forests up on the hills. There's actually, I've not investigated them up there, to be honest, but there's some old World War II bunkers located up on the hill to the right hand side. Quite a high spot, so I guess they were used there to spot for planes coming inbound, and I don't know whether they were ever really used that much in anger. So just going to come across Stopham Bridge here. This bridge right here is the new bridge. There's an old bridge over to the left hand side and a wonderful country pub. Again, if you're coming in this, want to do this road for yourself, that would be a very good place to stop and have something to eat. Another set of S-bends that we're coming upon right now, but it's sort of it's a key thing to this road. Some of these S-bends, they sort of go up and down hills, and the movement of the road going up and down just increases the drama of it. It's something that I find very strange when I drive out of Sussex onto very flat roads. I'm so used to seeing on this particular section the South Downs framing on my left hand side, and on my right hand side you've got the North Downs, so very easy to orientate yourself by these two large ridge lines. Another tree tunnel, and off to the left you've got these sunken pathways all the way along this road. Maybe it's just me, but whenever I see these sunken pathways, I'm always want to stop the car and investigate just to see where they go. They seem to be completely disused these days. We're actually in Fittleworth here. Again, a little village nestled at the bottom of the South Downs. This is the northern part of Fittleworth, slightly more modern. The actual main village is down to the south, and there is a church behind all of these houses to the left hand side. Coming up upon another set of S-bends, some wonderful houses straight ahead. Look at that, these cottages. As we move round this road, you'll probably see we're in this little sunken road, and the banks are actually made of sandstone. And we've talked about previously there was the sand, and there's also sandstone in this area. so you don't really want to be clipping your car on any of these sides of the roads. But wonderful area to the left to take for walks. There is a car park back there, lots of rope swings in that area, so if you want to take the dogs for a walk and exercise the kids, they'll swing forever on the rope swings located back there. So what we're actually approaching now is the area of Petworth, famous for Petworth House. So just coming up here, there we have got a junction, and traditionally or mainly people will go straight ahead at this junction. I'm going to take you through Petworth itself, because that is where the A283 goes, and the opportunity to spend time going through Petworth, it can't be missed. So Petworth is mainly famous for Petworth House. I've recently done another video at Petworth House, so it was the location for some movies, namely Disney's Maleficent and the Netflix TV series that the name eludes me, but comment down below if you name the name of the Netflix series I'm talking about. I keep meaning to come to this area to walk through a lot of these woods, very thick woodland, and over to the right hand side, it's quite a long way to the right hand side. I did do a video at an abandoned church in the woods called Bedham Church, and the forest there was absolutely fascinating. Extremely tall beech trees and extremely quiet. It really didn't see a lot of people when I was out for my walk there. The population does become very less dense in this area of Sussex. I sometimes sort of refer to the western parts of West Sussex as the Wild West, because it does feel a lot wilder in some parts of West Sussex. Great views over to the left hand side of the South Downs. We're actually running up along a ridge line, and we're going to get some wonderful views of Petworth as we get a little bit closer. So one of the reasons I wanted to actually take you into Petworth itself. To be fair, the road that goes round Petworth is extremely interesting in itself. A wonderful driving road, so long sweeping bends and ups and downs on that one, so it's enjoyable in itself, but didn't want to not show you Petworth itself, because yeah, it's an extremely charming town on the way. So right here we drop into this open valley, and on the right hand side we've got some old farmhouses. Can barely see them above the hedgerows, but when you're doing this in person, they're absolutely beautiful, some of these old Sussex buildings. So when you approach Petworth from this direction, it's quite interesting actually, because you get a different perspective on it. Petworth House itself sits on quite a high ridge, and overlooks the town of and the valleys of Petworth as well, so it's almost castle-like, but when you're in the midst of the town you can't necessarily see it because of the density of the housing. So as you can see, we've got these old cottages, amazing old church there. It's probably the finest part of this journey is coming across Petworth. I mean, we've had to pause because of the vans, but yeah, look at these old cottages. You can clearly see the roads that we're using weren't made for moving traffic on. Yeah, it would have been horse and cart when most of these buildings were all constructed. Sad thing is with modern motoring is that the cars are getting so much bigger, and as we can see ahead of us, the Sainsbury's van, the use of vans it's become prevalent, that our roads in Sussex are getting very clogged up. So this is the market square for Petworth, now full of cars, but you would have had people trading in this area. Again, amazing old buildings completely everywhere you look. So I was quite lucky on my drive on the 272 and the A283 that the traffic wasn't bad. I think this was a Saturday I took this drive on. You can tend to find that it gets yeah, very busy, this road, because of all the fine tourist attractions on it. Helps a little bit that the weather wasn't the best on this day. As you can see, the skies aren't that blue, and that was one of the reasons that I took this opportunity to film this video. Given the opportunity, I would like to be up on the South Downs, but very funny summer for us in West Sussex, very windy and grey. So over to the right hand side, we're now running along the wall for Petworth House. So this wall on the right hand side is the actual boundary wall, and we've got the cricket club for Petworth over on the right hand side. And as we go along here, there's these little gatehouses along. So this section of the road would be my favourite section. As you can see to the right, you get these glimpses of Petworth Park, and on the left we've got glimpses of the South Downs. As I said to you before, this part of West Sussex becomes less dense with population, so less housing, more open countryside. This gatehouse to the right hand side was where I started my walk off when I came to Petworth House to film a video. Good place to start, because you get to see on the right hand side, just on the other side of this wall, there's these sort of follies located around the park, and so you start your walk off right near the follies. Got the church there at Petworth in the distance, or for Petworth Park, and yeah, it's I think beyond the scenicness of this road, you do tend to find this road gets used a lot by motorbikes and by fast cars as well. It is most of this road is national speed limits, so 60 miles an hour, albeit they have actually started to restrict the speed limit through various sections, just because it has become so popular with people that like the challenging roads. Getting some glimpses now of the South Downs in the distance. Just reminds me of, as I said earlier, when I've made some of my journeys over to Wiltshire and to Stonehenge. Had to set out really early to get there, and when you drive this road early in the morning, you tend to be sort of sitting up and looking out over the countryside, and you'll often see dragon's breath sitting in the fields all around you. Quite a magical experience. So it's starting to get a bit faster here, so 60 mile an hour limit for these passing places along. Again, yeah, you can tend to find that you do get the sort of faster drivers, yeah, making the most of it. This section of the road, it's very gentle curves, almost like the section at Steyning here, where the road's not straight, so it's quite interesting having these curved sections, but you can sort of pick up the pace. As you can see, sort of farmland over to my right hand side, and one of the benefits of doing it at this time of year is that you have got, here we go, motorbike overtaking us there, like I said about these fast drivers. But yeah, with the countryside at the moment, you've got all of these brown grasses mixing in with the greens of the trees, so you've got all of this contrasting. It's a great time. And I don't know about your local area, but we've got lots of wildflowers in West Sussex this year, way more than I would normally expect to see. So bright yellow flowers there by the side of the road does make for driving in the county at the moment absolutely charming. As I mentioned before, this road sort of undulates all the way along, so that does give you the ability just to see over the ridge line to the next ridge and see more of the open country farmland. So got lucky with the traffic on this journey. As you can see, we're not following a bus all the way along. In this section of the road we lose the tree tunnel effect that we got earlier on the A272, which is why I wanted to start the drive off there, because I do find this section extremely scenic with all of the open countryside, but I'm a big fan of trees and can't beat a tree tunnel. Yeah, I'll like to mix it up. I like to see the open downland as well. Just looking through the trees over to my left, you would just get these glimpses of the South Downs in the distance. So we found our tree tunnel. One of my favourite section of this bit, this weaving through again these sunken roads. I think if you were driving a little bit too fast and lost a bit of control, you probably wouldn't want to meet these wall sections at high speed. But makes it a very interesting drive. Starting to open up now, and we're coming to the area where we've got some golf courses for the Cowdray estate. Great places to walk in there. So you've got the mix of these open bits of countryside mixed in with woodland as well. So see the South Downs there looming in the distance. I think it's this particular section of the road that gives the A283 its legendary status. Absolutely smooth as anything, this road, so no potholes, and quite a fairly fast speed limit of 60 miles an hour, albeit some people are obviously going above that. And yeah, as you can see off to the right, there are little car parks where people go for walks, walk their dogs. So up a particular beautiful area over on the right hand side and the left hand side, and we're starting to get the Cowdray estate there to the left. So on the day that I was filming this, they had some kind of event on at the Cowdray estate. when I did this road trip, I actually went on and used it to film Midhurst Castle, having never been there before. But over to the left now takes you down to the Cowdray house. So if you made it here, thank you very much for watching.